X-Men Origins Wolverine. This movie, oh my god, what can I say about it that a neckbeard on Reddit who thinks women's sole purpose is pleasuring them hasn't already said? It breaks continuity while trying to be a part of it and gives us the worst fucking Deadpool ever.
Raise his mouth so he can't scream.
Oh hell no! This was utter bollocks. People hated this shit. Not me though, I kinda liked it. What can I say? I'm a simple girl. I see Wolverine, I like. This was very much the case with Deadpool and Wolverine. That movie was fire. I actually bought a Wolverine comic, albeit I've not actually read it, but that's not all the merch I got. I got the Lego figures, twice. I have 2 wonderful action figures, 2 plushies, and the friendship heart keychains. The person with the other half is no longer my friend. All in all, Deadpool and Wolverine fever was setting in, and I had to play me some video games. I played the Deadpool game, and was editing a video about it, but I lost most of the project when I swapped to my new PC, unfortunately. All I'll say is that it was definitely one of the games of all time. But back now to the Wolverine game. Ravensoft wanted this to be the definitive Wolverine game from the get-go, so an M rating was absolutely vital. And thankfully, despite the source material being PG, they still managed to get the desired rating. This was perfect. Wolverine doesn't merely hit people with his claws or punch people and have his claws for show. His claws are destructive weapons and he uses them as such. He rips off people's arms, legs, and heads. He cuts through steel, he slices bullets, all while blood drips from his body as his vitals are on full show. This game really wants to make you feel like Wolverine, and in my opinion, it did that flawlessly. This game wasn't originally intended to be a movie tie-in, however, which I definitely think aided many creative liberties. The game also features great voice acting from Liev Schreiber, the guy from Scream 2.
That I'm an innocent man.
And more notably, from Hugh Jackman, whom they got to voice Wolverine/Logan for the game. He works on this project for more or less a year and said, quote,
"I did more voiceover for this than I've ever done before."
However, he did not provide motion capture. The motion capture that was done looks great, by the way. Unfortunately, I don't know whom to attribute it to. Now, getting into the meat and potatoes of this thing, the game does not shy away from all the drama at all. The first cutscene is actually a masterpiece. It does go on for a little bit, but trust me, it's a great watch. I guess this serves as a final warning that, yeah, this game will be brutal. Or as Raven describes the game, uncaged. Okay, I looked up the definition of that word and it literally means not being restricted or confined to a cage. That's a strange way to say the movie is downright terrible, but this game is not, unless you play the Wii version. God had no hand in that one. I wonder why they didn't go with that. Oh well. If you watch this cutscene and your stomach churns, you won't want to actually play the darn thing. If that's the case, I've got something right up your alley. Raid Shadowland! I'm just kidding, go play Wii Sports. Pussy. After the cutscene ends, you're falling from the sky. No, this isn't Fortnite, put mommy's credit card back. Oh my god, bro's gone. Bro actually got atomized. I don't think there's anything left for forensics to analyze. Wolverine then skewers these motherfuckers.
Kebab, bub.
He also delivers powerful punches that really feel like you're being hit with adamantium fists. What a bloodbath. I am literally Logan, you don't understand. Like I'm actually him, it's insane. The environments are really well done. I get sucked into them and really feel like I'm there, and not just watching a huge jackman in a vest pummel some military folk and robots, despite that being what's happening. These assholes are ripped to shreds.
So much blood.
Logie Bear also can use his feral senses to fight nearby enemies and parts of the level. This is really useful and wait, that's just detective mode from the Arkham games. You can also lunge at enemies and stab through their skulls.
Your friends use too much cologne.
Hey, that's my car after I thought cheat day meant cheat on your girlfriend. I'm sure those will buff out. In the meantime, I've got places to go and people to kill. Am I meant to smash those pots? No? No rupees? 1 star. Oh my gosh, there's a waterfall! Wrong Logan. There's something behind the waterfall, however. Where was I again? Oh, that's right. Murder. Fuck, he's so hot. Please, Hugh, I know you're 56, I don't care. Rail me. Rail me now. Hugh Jackman, please. Fuck my ass like there's no tomorrow. Please. I don't care that I can see your lungs. That makes it better. If you don't want the wife beater drip, you can actually select from several outfits in the game that you have to unlock. You do this by finding action figures throughout the levels. You get his classic suit from the comics, the John Byrne tan and brown that he fought the Hulk in,
Lego, please make a new figure of this suit.
and this grey suit. I'm not too sure where it's from, and don't really like it. I think the Weapon X look would have been much better. I'm sure these people have done horrible things, but surely this guy had a family, no? Oh hey, another waterfall! Now, I will say, the events of this game are not in chronological order, which is fine because it's well executed. However, the segments in the jungle will feel repetitive. The level design is great. Beautiful, in fact, but the colors have low saturation and the architect must have been really lazy because everything looks the same. That being said, there's still great environments for chopping up your foes. So there's that. There's also a lot of waterfalls, which I love. Giving the combat its own segment, Wolverine is ferocious. He's like if an angry bull fucked a wolf and then you fed the offspring cocaine. I've mentioned the way he shreds through people like he's a human switchblade. Scratch that, he's a whole dining set and 15th century arsenal in one sensual package. You've got your standard light attacks and heavy attacks, some grabs too, and a good amount of combos. But you also have Rage mode, which grants you more damage, and you also get what IGN has listed as Fury moves. These operate similarly to the momentum moves in the Deadpool game. Speaking of, go play it. After having enough rage, you get to use one of these to do insane attacks. One is the Claw Spin. Ever had the Thunder Driller from LEGO Power Miners as a kid? Yeah. That. Wolverine is that. Straight through enemies. He has other Fury moves, and they're very fun. He has one called Berserk, which makes all his attacks stronger temporarily. It's one I really like. You need a lot of rage to be able to use it. There's so many combat moves in this game. There's also quick kills. When grabbing an enemy, hold the heavy attack, then when you see a flash on the screen, you hit the button again. Then you will perform a gruesome kill on the enemy, such as lifting them up and stabbing them in the chest and cutting through their body as the enemy is heard gagging on their blood. Lunging is another useful combat feature. Given Wolverine's style of combat is very up close, he can't achieve a lot from a distance. Thus, he needs a way of closing the gap between him and enemies that are further away. This is where the lunge comes into play. You can project yourself forward onto an enemy, dealing a lot of damage to them. This is very useful for fighting enemies. If you tap either B or Y when the lunge connects, you'll either pound them or throw them. There are also a bunch of environmental kills. Grabbing an enemy near certain places lets you kill them instantly. Most of these involve impaling the enemies on something, such as these forklifts, but there are a few others, like these electric wall panel thingies that fry their brains. They're basically like the environmental takedowns in Arkham Knight, just a lot more brutal. Because Wolverine is a beast in this game. Pun absolutely intended. You can also unlock and level up mutagens, which are upgrades for Wolverine that give him various perks. You purchase these with skill points you get from leveling up and killing enemies. The best way to figure out new moves to use on enemies is just to combine different button combinations until you find something cool. There were some very cool moves that I only discovered when replaying for this video. All in all, the combat in this game is very fun and makes for a vicious hack and slash. That leads us into the boss fights quite nicely. This game has several boss fights, with varying gimmicks to make them more dynamic and interesting. Such as riding Blob.
Whoa! This dude's riding him! I didn't even know you could do that!
Yeah, you straight up get on top of him and bang him against walls. Whoa, that is not what I meant. You actually claw his back. You also fight Sabretooth, several Wendigos, a couple of Leviathans, a Mark 1 Sentinel prototype, a Giant Sentinel, Gambit, and Deadpool. The Sabretooth fight is good at teaching you the basics. Here you learn just how ferocious Wolverine can fight, as at this stage in the game, Sabretooth outmatches you. He is far more skilled, making this a challenging battle, and yet, it's very fun. The environment provides many opportunities for you to damage him. There's various things in the vicinity that you can throw him against, but be careful, because he can throw you towards them too. You'll have to do your best and pray it's good enough if you want to take down Victor Creed. The various monsters are cool too. However, it's just a lot of rinse and repeat. Looking back, they're very similar to the various Titan or Bane boss fights throughout the Arkham series. You wait till their backs are turned, then you climb onto them. Only difference is instead of ripping tubes out of their backs, you rip their heads off instead. Or you just hack away at their back with your claws. Either way, the similarities are still there. The Giant Sentinel boss fight is probably my favorite though. It's a giant robot way bigger than you. This thing is at least 3 Bo Burnhams tall. At least.
Another one is they say, how's the weather up there? And you say it's raining and you spit in the face.
You take it out by leading it towards these electrical panels that shock its feet. Then you climb onto its feet and claw away. You claw away a lot in this game. Funny, right? As for the actual fight, it's nothing too special, at least in Phase 1. No, I like what this fight represents. Think about it. You're a group of people that makes up less than a percentage of the population. The government has authorized the development of a deadly force intent on ridding the world of your kind. You encounter one of their many manufactured methods of achieving this goal. You're scared. You're alone. And despite that, you have to take this down on your own, with zero help. If anything, surrounding personnel are on its side. But you persevere. You take this down all by yourself. Nothing, and I mean nothing on this battlefield is slowing you down. You, solely you, take down this weapon. This tool of destruction made by the very people who ought to have your best interests at heart. You make it look weak. And it is weak. Because while it's hellbent on destroying you and others like you, your perseverance is your strength. You succeed. You know this isn't the end. You know this is merely the beginning. But at this moment, that doesn't matter. Because you won a battle, and you're reminded that even alone, you can accomplish great things as long as you try. I hope you realize I'm not just talking about a giant robot. I am, of course, talking about real-world dangers. Dangers faced by marginalized communities every day. So many people hate me for who I am, but they can stay mad, because they aren't going to win. No. Especially if we work together. The second phase is interesting. It reminded me of that one phase of the Joker mech fight in LEGO Batman 2. You dive down toward it, avoiding debris. Then, when you can get close, you start destroying it. Just, here there's way more blood. You also fight Gambit.
You know how long I've been waiting for this?
I think this fight definitely provides the most spectacle. The boss fight is actually worked into the levels really well. The whole thing transitions really cleanly. As you fight him in one area, he uses parts of the environment against you, forcing you to think strategically. Then, he gets away, and you progress the level as you normally would. You also fight BLOB. His boss fight is honestly really underrated in video games as a whole. You climb onto his back and ram him into the walls of the shop. Don't worry, no shoppers or staff are present. Just you, the food, and a whale. I definitely think this aged poorly, as fat phobia is seen as a much bigger issue now, so a whole boss fight of fat jokes is pretty offensive. So just bear in mind the time this was made and understand people look at things differently now. There's a lot more that could be said about the boss fights in this game, but I strongly recommend playing it to see for yourself. Now it's time to talk about the game's story. There's a major problem with the movie, so let's see if the game handles it differently. The game's main story is pretty good. It ties into the movie, but not too much, honestly. The major fights all happen in this game, such as the fight against BLOB, and the fight against Gambit is way more epic than just chopping down a ladder. The fights actually have big action set pieces, except for BLOB's. His just takes place in a Tesco. The game's overall story just fleshes out the story of the movie a lot better. It adds sections and plot points that make everything feel much more complete. For instance, there's this girl named Anna, and she doesn't have a surname, but she can teleport. She was originally on an island, but she escaped. She was then transported to the Weapon X research facility and held captive there. Through an audio log, you hear how they mistreat her and dehumanize her, refusing to call her by her name. Instead, she's just referred to by her designated subject number. So, the objective has you free her from a cell, but then some military folk come over. Wolverine tells her to close her eyes and not watch while he grates them like cheese. After he's done, she opens her eyes. They talk to each other, then she teleports them both. Then she gets captured, so you kill the scientist. And then by the end of it, she teleports herself to safety, leaving Wolverine to fight for himself. Which he does in this savage sequence, where they forget this is Wolverine and not flushed away. So the spillway gets flooded, so Logan attacks all these soldiers on their trucks. There's a good amount of stuff like this that pads out the story. It was a very good addition. However, it is possible that these were actually intended to be in the movie at some point, given that the game is based off of an earlier script or draft of the movie. Another interesting thing of note is that Raven Software had been wanting to make a Wolverine solo game for a while, and that's what this game was originally going to be. A Wolverine game with no ties to any particular source material. They took Unreal Engine 3 and got to work, really wanting to make it feel like a Wolverine game. Wolverine doesn't just hit people with his claws. That's not what they're there for. He attacks people viciously, and the game wanted to show this. After escaping the Weapon X research facility, you find yourself in a snowy place, similar to the snow scenes in Age of Ultron in Sokovia, and Wolverine's death site in Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't want to explain too much of the plot though, so please, go play the game for yourself. Essentially, Logan is pissed with William Stryker and Victor Creed, so he goes out to kill them. And then he finds out about Weapon 11, aka Deadpool, like in the movie.
Is that you?
I know we all hate this version of Deadpool, but he made for a fun boss fight, so I won't complain about that. You get to use all of your moves against Deadpool. It's a really fun fight. I want to talk about the environments, because they're really great. So you start off in this cool jungle. There's loads of waterfalls there, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Waterfalls are my favorite part of nature. I love them so much. I could go on forever about them, but I'll save that for another video. This tropical region is in Africa. We can only assume it's a fictional country, as the flags seen on these boats don't match any real-world flags. Originally, this was supposed to have a more prehistoric vibe to it, with dinosaurs flying around. The architecture mimics African ruins, maybe Mayan? There's a lot of vines and dead plants, and various booby traps and spikes. You can also see dead bodies in various places. There's a few puzzles too. There's also 2 labs, like the Weapon X research facility, full of experiments, mutants, scientists, soldiers. It's a fun place to explore. This area is fairly high-tech with a lot of places to explore. There's also many audio logs from various scientists you can listen to. The area is also full of blood from tortured mutants.
Blood! Gore!
The puzzles here are pretty basic. You put these energy batteries in these receptacles to power doors and various machinery, but you have to be careful, because there's lots of military soldiers trying to kill you. The second lab is even more high-tech. There are teleporters you can control to access different places. There are also a lot of robots too. Many of them remind me of Ultrakill, but one of them has a head shape that honestly reminds me of Queen from Deltarune, at least from certain angles. But the body actually reminds me of Robocop. The robots have cool voices too. Nothing too complex, I could easily replicate them in Audacity, but they sound great nonetheless. If you go deeper, you'll see even more areas of high technology. A huge part of the area is underground, and is very vast. This lab is also where the Sentinels are made. If you're unfamiliar with your X-Men lore, Sentinels are robots created by evil people to hunt down and eliminate mutants, as they're perceived to be a threat. It's genuinely a horrifying concept. I can't imagine the government being so convinced that such a small group of people is so dangerous and should be eradicated from public life entirely, that anyone could assume any one kind of person is so dangerous they must be wiped out. That's crazy! That's outlandish, preposterous even. So glad we don't live in a world like that. There's also Alkalit Lake. It's quite a huge area, very snowy with a lot of trees. There's a few labs here too, but it's mostly a huge snowy area with a large military presence. There's also an abandoned military compound. This area is also where the Weapon X program happened in the comics. I do really like this area, but there's not a whole lot I can say about it honestly. I wish there was because I really like it. In conclusion, I really love this game. It's very fun to play through. The visuals are very exciting, the gameplay never gets old, the sound design is great, and you get to play as Wolverine. What's not to love? The boss fights are cool, the environments are well made. I had a lot of fun playing this game. And if you're okay with all the blood, which you should be if you've watched this whole video, I think you'll enjoy it too. It's nothing exactly groundbreaking, but for what it is, being a movie tie-in game, it's really good. But I guess a lot of that is attributed to the original script being low-key better than the final movie we got. But I still liked the movie, there's something charming about it. And if it wasn't for it, we would never have gotten the Deadpool movies with Ryan Reynolds, and everyone loves those. Hey, these videos take a long time to make, and I'm not monetized yet, so I'd really appreciate it if you supported me on Patreon or Ko-Fi. It would really help. The links will be in the description. Anyways, thank you for watching.